Stan. Stan's number 1 today. Then Dan, you're after Gary. Then Joe, you're after Jan, you're number 4. And Lisa Marie, you're after 5. You're 5 after Joe, and I'm after you.
Technically, Lisa and I were first.
Doesn't count if the meeting hasn't started.
That's right.
Like getting to the race early and starting.
I guess you got me there.
Start whenever I want.
What's the rule there?
Right, that's it. It'll be a race now to see who can get up the earliest.
I've got to get started early then too.
Well, when you're the turtle, you got to start a little early.
All right, Stan, when you're ready.
The purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
Gary.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Yep, me.
Yes, you.
Yeah. Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
Lisa.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distraction during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
Lisa.
Oh, sorry. We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces: one mind, one soul, one love.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Hopefully you can hear me okay, because the rain has started and it's pouring down. And I'm in the quietest room in the house, so it'll be okay.
Can't hear it. It's all good.
Okay.
Good. Hello, Carly and Julie.
Yeah, sorry,
Hey,
a little
Callie.
few minutes late.
Okay.
Hi, Jules.
Hi. It was
Okay.
raining here last night.
What's that?
Rain. Heavy.
I can barely hear something.
Is it raining that hard? Jeez.
Yeah, that's the kind of rain we're getting at the moment. The topic for today, firstly, I'd like to just remind you, hopefully you've all had a good practice with your values, and let me know if you want any help with them, how to put them into a mission statement and make sure that you kind of enforce them every day with affirmations, etc. Today we're talking about, you did it? Today I'm going to talk about meditation, or we're going to talk about meditation and the importance of incorporating that into your routine. And when I broached the subject with Gary, I didn't think about this, but it did remind me about when I was doing Kundalini yoga very regularly. I don't know if any of you've done Kundalini yoga, but it's a very different format where you'll do a warm up the spine and your body, and then you'll do some really random, who knows what you're going to be doing. You have no idea when you get on the class whether you're going to be sitting there just doing some really complicated techniques of breathing, or you're going to be up and moving and jumping around like an idiot, or I don't know. But it used to just make me laugh, thinking if aliens are watching this, it's like that's why they're not coming. They're not coming to see us. But they do. At the end of all that, there'll be a theme, like it might be for your adrenals, it might be for your kidney, it might be the 10 bodies. Lots of different concepts they have. Then you'll do a relaxation, which is like Shavasana, but then they'll do their meditation. And for them, it's very much about the whole process. All of the asanas you do, all of the physical work is just to get you in the state where you can sit and meditate. And their meditation is about, it may have mantras, it might have mudras with your hands, it may have different breathing techniques. So it's really, it might have movement as well. So meditation can mean many different things. It's not just sitting there going om, or, you know, trying not to think, which is impossible. And I just have a very simple process for myself now, where I do another yoga breathing technique, which is alternative nostril breathing, and just do that in the morning. It's 5 minutes, and it's easy, it's simple to incorporate, and it makes a huge difference to my day and how I kind of focus. So I thought it'd be really interesting to find out what people do for their meditation practices. And I know, Gary, you have something you do every single day, every morning.
Is that my QV? Yeah, this is a topic that's really near and dear to me, because I take my meditation very, very seriously. I've been meditating since I was 17, so that's a long time ago. And you would think I would have some sort of ability to sit down and just still the mind. And I will say, after 55 or 57 odd years, it is still a discipline of patience to be able to, you know, get to a place where I can get to some semblance of stilling the mind. However, it is I think for myself, that it is a really, really necessary aspect of our daily lives, is to do our best to recenter ourselves onto what is absolutely the most important thing to us. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about that, and then I'll speak about a meditation that I can give to you that you all can do if you don't have one. Or if you have one and you want an adjunctive one, this may be an alternative for you. But at the end of the day, all of us are going to die. And I know that's shocking for many of us, but no, we're all going to kick off. And we will have come to a place in our existence here that it will be time to leave. The master would always say that the time of death and the time of birth are fixed, and that is something that cannot be changed. And so I think that when we look at what our mind is fully focused upon most of the time during our waking or our sleeping hours, that is the thing that we are most attached to. And Buddha said it best, you go where your attachments are. And at the time of death, our success in life is based upon where our primary focus has been, and that last frame of the movie. If that's all true, then the more that we focus on our relationship with whatever we're considering God to be, the more we focus there, then the more we build that relationship and grow that particular attachment. I know I've read in lots of different literature that the objective here in the physical realm is to be like a lotus. You flower on the surface of the water, but your roots are deeply intrinsically intertwined with the mud. So here we are in the mud, so to speak, in the physical form. And yet, when we think about the crown chakra or the third eye, the two spiritual centers in the body, and we keep our focus on that level of devotional practice, we actually begin to start creating that level of attachment, greater and more than the ephemeral things of our physical world. Most people focus on their families and their children and their relatives and their family of origin. And I've been blessed by having not very much attachment to any of the characters on that side of my family, and more blessed by being able to keep my mind fully focused in another direction. So the meditation that I wanted to share with you is from a tradition called Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is a tradition of yoga of devotion. And I would, for me anyway, it has resonated the deepest with me. So my invitation to you is that, as I forget, I think V said it, that it's very hard to still the mind. And you can't still the mind by not thinking. You're constantly thinking, even in meditation. The best way to still the mind is to have a mantra base that is a devotional words that you would say to keep your mind focused on the creator, whatever that is for you. So in Bhakti Yoga, I would highly recommend you go to the internet and you Google the different names of God, whatever, from all the different cultures, all the different religions. Go and Google the names of God. All you have to do is just say cultural names of God or religious names of God. Google that. Take 3 names that resonate with you, that you feel like can absorb, that you have a connection to, that can absorb your mind, can keep your focus. The bottom line is, when I was working with Marilyn Youngberg, who was an Arikara Hadeshka medicine woman, I was her sweat lodge keeper for about 10 years. And she would always say that there is this, there's so much to be grateful for, and to be grateful to the planet, to the natural world, especially for the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, that there's so much to be grateful for. So if you can take that sort of slant of spirituality and apply it to whatever we feel this creative force is, or this thing that's created all things, then we could find in our best days 3 names that represent God, to sit quietly and repeat those names over and over and over again, to the exclusion of all other thoughts. And in that, with the mindset of being grateful and thankful for everything you have, from your physical body to the air you breathe, to the water you drink, to all the things that have manifested for you in your life, for your will, for your sight, for your ability to touch. But repeat those names in this deep-seated focus of gratitude. And when you begin to do that, you begin to start getting to this place where your mind will start to still, and there'll be a level of love that starts to rise in you. And when you're able to feel love for whatever you think God is for you, your vibration literally rises. I've had people do this meditation, and cancerous like growths on their bodies fall off because of the vibrational rise that happens. So it isn't so much any technique, in my opinion anyways, it is the love that the technique invokes in you. And that rises your vibration, that focuses your mind, and you start creating a relationship with whatever this creative force is that we all call God. Personally, I know it's not a religion. I know it is a state of consciousness and connection with this all-pervasive force running through all things, holding the physical matter of the universe together by the vibration that, of course, this energy is. So when V asked whether we should talk about meditation, I was like, yes, because it's such a vitally important part of being able to walk through this world but not be of it, to be able to flower like a lotus on the surface of the water as we have our roots deeply embedded in the mud of the world, which means deeply embedded as physical beings, because each one of us sitting on this call will look at ourselves and think, well, you know, like this is me, you know, but actually it's not. But it's pretty hard to convince us when we're all entrenched in our attachment to the body. So this is one way to begin to start lessening those cords that bind us and to start rising up our vibration to more of a vibration of love. And you can do that through Bhakti Yoga. So I would love to know, Joe, I'm going to go calling you because I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, or it feels like a couple weeks. Probably isn't. What's the meditation that you do, brother? Because I know you do, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was on a trip last week with my father and son camping, so I was away.
Awesome.
For me though, like right now I would be outside. We got a nice heavy downpour, and to me, like water is just like a bringer of life, a cleanser, a healer. And I would take all of my electronics out of my pockets and I would go stand outside and just close my eyes and enjoy the rainfall. Just allow it to wash over me, cleanse me, clean me. Like, it's a beautiful thing just thinking about it. But when I don't have, the natural rainfall, I just do the basic sit still, comfortable position, and just try to quiet the mind the best I can and just allow what comes from the heart to think about that for a moment, or to allow that to just flow through my thoughts instead of allowing the ego to just take control and just, you got to do this, you got to do that, don't forget this, don't forget that, you gotta. I try and still that part of the mind and just allow what comes from the heart to take over, and then like basically allow the heart and the gut instinct to guide me or direct me into whatever I am meant to do with that meditation moment.
Awesome. Julie, do you have a meditation that you do? You may or may not, but do you have one?
I have about 20, as usual with my life. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Years and years I've been into meditation. I always wanted to meditate, even as a child. I just knew there was something I needed to do, and it didn't come from church, really. All that came from church for me was lots of questions. And then my brother was also very spiritual, and he started meditating when he was seven and a half years older than me. Actually, still is. And he started and joined the School of Philosophy here in Wellington. And that was started with economics. So it was a practical philosophy. It wasn't like university. So, and then they took on meditation in the 60s when the Maharishi came, and so that was my first, I went along when my marriage broke up, and I finally got initiated in that meditation, which I persisted with for quite a few years, and I'm doing still now. And it's a lovely one. It's just a mantra meditation.
That's transcendental meditation, Julie, that you're doing?
Pardon?
That's transcendental meditation?
Well, kind of, but it's not exactly. Actually, I don't know, but it's just we were given and initiated with a mantra, which, it's very similar. So, and I use that but you see, there was so much to dross in my life to shed. So, of course, like everything else I did in life at that stage, I could never do it properly. Everyone else could, but I couldn't, and expectations and everything else, I used to get quite frustrated, but I did persist. So I'm actually still kind of using that, but having come through so many other ones, I used to love Abraham Hicks, just listen to the air conditioner for 20 minutes. I thought that was superb as well. And, you know, that was useful. So, yeah, but I think it's a healing process. And of course, meditation is part of the healing process when we realize how important it is, you know, and actually how simple it is. But we complicate it with those terribly circulating thoughts. So, yes, I love what you're saying, Gary, and I think very similar for me that way. When I looked at yours, Veronica, the Kundalini, always a bit of a dangerous thing, Kundalini, isn't it? I hear. You've got to be careful. No, if anything becomes too complex, I just lose the plot. So I think it's just incredibly important with its simplicity and also the deeply profound kind of strength of losing yourself and just being. And that is a state that I think we spend our life trying to achieve. Yeah. And there's no doubt that when you do connect, even if it's just for a few seconds, or disconnect, should we say, or connect deeply, is profoundly advantageous for our health and you know, mind and everything else. So yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. I think TM is really, really profound. And I also think the ultimate goal, of course, as you said, is to lose yourself in that oneness. Hey, Callie, what is your meditational practice, darling, if you have one?
I've got a few, but it just really depends on where I'm at and what I'm feeling, like what I need. So I could do a transcendental one, but I also do a grounding one where I do the, even Ho'oponopono to me is a meditation.
It is, yeah.
And, you know, the alternate nostril breathing, I do that one. I do all sorts, depends where I'm at. But I do like the stillness one, and I love doing the womb meditation where you're just fully present and you're in no thing, just in your womb, nothing, no thoughts. Because once you get out of your mind in a meditation, in the lower body, you sort of get out of your mind anyway. It's sort of organic. So I do that one. It's powerful, especially with a piece of music.
Is there a meditation that evokes the most love in you?
Yeah, the womb meditation.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it to the platform, but I mean, I have really, Kim and me are teaching it, but the thing is, it gets you out of your mind. It just gets you fully still. You don't need to think one iota thing. You're just fully present to no thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Cassia? I think it's Cassia.
Kasha.
Kasha. Oh, sorry.
All right. Oh, it's all right, Gary. Well, English is my second language, so you know.
Oh,
I
good.
can learn something from you, and you can learn to say my name.
Very good. Is there a meditational practice that you do?
You know, years ago, I did when I was like 20, I did a Silva course, and at the time, you know, I was after I finished the course, I was so excited, and I was doing my, you know, alpha meditation, and you know, going deep into myself to do stuff. But it's interesting how people that you are surrounded with, if they don't understand what you are trying to do, they will always like, hey, are you all right? And you know, those hey, are you all right, they killed my meditations for ages, because I didn't enjoy explaining myself. So I kind of quit for a while, and now since I am using my quantum tool, and I'm using you know, all kinds of master classes with breathing and different meditations, and you know, different you know, teachers that they are you know, helping us to go through. So I enjoy different things within the Noble Goldman. You know, on Saturday I love doing whatever we do with Vanessa. It's a beautiful hour of very deep reading, and you know, she's getting us through some subjects, and there are a few of those teachers that they do those things. And but when I'm on my own, my best, I would say, it's not like a meditation that, you know, I play from the internet. For me, the best way is to connect with the nature. I like to walk my naked feet on my yard where I do not spray any chemicals, and I love the sun, and I love those moments when I can go outside and kind of turn off everything for sometimes short time, sometimes longer. But I love the sun and the power and energy of the sun, and just the fact that, you know, I'm connected with the nature. This gives me, I feel like, the purest connection. But also I enjoy, you know, going by the ocean where you can go and walk on the beach, of course, again, naked feet. And for me, this is the most magnificent moment for me, when I am kind of connected in between the world where we live and the underwater. When the waves, they come and go, I feel this is the space to speak to, you know, to Gaia, and to, you know, just go quiet. That's my heaven place.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Carolee, do you have any meditation that you would like to share? Because I think we're just all sharing what we do in hopes that people get value and can do whatever they want to do as far as that connection goes. Do you have anything, Carolee, that you'd like to share, or is there something that someone else has shared that you like?
Yeah, sure. So what I have been doing up to the last couple of days is my first 20 minutes of the day is just doing like the Abraham Hicks sort of thing of just you know, listening for a sound. Sometimes it's just my tinnitus, and I sort of, I feel the top of my head opening up, and like if there's a swirling blue light, and I love that. But that hasn't really been happening for me the last few days. So, but I have been doing a guided meditation with Abraham Hicks, and yeah, I found that really good. It's sort of like taking a step back, you know, when the meditation's just not really working out that well, to just take a step back and do something easier. I found that really good, and it's sort of that guided meditation, sort of the main thing of it is everything is always working out for me.
That's a great statement to live by.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm instilling that.
I've got one I'll share with you if you like that one. All things past, present, and to come is gently planned by one who unconditionally loves me.
That's nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. All things past, present, and to come are gently planned by one who unconditionally loves me.
Gary, is that from the Course in Miracles?
It is from the Course in Miracles. All the most beautiful statements I know are from the Course in Miracles.
You know, some from the Buddha as well. You've got some awesome quotes, which I have actually transcribed.
Yes, you did, didn't you? Sometimes I would say smart things.
And then you don't remember what they were.
Yeah, I can't remember after I've said them, but you know, they're smart in the moment. Lisa, do you have anything that you'd like to share with the group, or anything that you've heard that you feel like you'd like to incorporate into your daily practice?
I also love the statement that everything's always working out for me, and I have gone for long walks just repeating that over and over again, and often when I do that at the end of a walk, something really amazing happens that I never would have could have predicted, or like really nice surprises. I love that one. I used to do Vipassana meditation a lot.
Nice.
And I haven't done that for a long time, but I'm really appreciating this call today because it's a good reminder for me, as I'm gonna make sure I make time for that now. Lately I've just been doing easy ones, like listening to guided meditations, but the Vipassana meditation for me, I used to love that. It makes you feel so connected to everyone and everything, and you just feel just pure love.
You know, I don't know if you guys and girls have ever read anything by Rumi, but Rumi was this Persian mystic who wrote about the elixir of wine. But it wasn't wine. Wine was the metaphor. It was really the elixir of the love of God. And so Rumi would carry on he would write these most incredible poems, but it all had to do with his very personal relationship with what he considered the creator. And, you know, most of us have been wounded by some form of religion. So when we hear the word God, we go, oh, hell no. But, you know, the truth of it is that that is not ever what this creative force has ever been. It's been this all-pervasive, unconditional love that's ecstatic, flowing through each one of us. And so when I think about meditation, I think of that as the yang aspect of an act of devotion, of creating a relationship with this all-pervasive power. And it's very, very personal. People may find that evolution to that in walking in the bush. It could be sitting on the beach. It could be, you know, chanting and, you know, sitting in a resonant dome listening to a didgeridoo. I mean, it's that personal time that we set aside for ourselves to create that relationship. And since it is pervasive and runs through all things that we can perceive with our five senses, I think it's really vital that each one of us start to develop that personal relationship that's unique and secret and sacred to us. And we'll do it differently. But I think for us to do it brings such tremendous value to us. Gregory Bateson said, you know, very beautifully that human beings exist on multiple logical levels, but the place where the deepest change happens is when we create a change at the spiritual level. Then our identity shifts, our beliefs and values shifts, our capability shifts, our behavior shift. Everything shifts when we make a change there. So when we can grow that part of ourselves, very quiet to us. I don't know if any of you have ever had a secret lover. But in my younger days, when I was a wild pony, I had several. And what I would do is, you know, I don't go talk to people about my secret lover. It's like, it's private. It's like, it's me and that person. Now, the truth of it is, I view this thing, this creative force, as my secret lover. I don't go around and promote it or talk about it or share a lot about it, because it is sacred and secret to me. So I just want to throw that little spin on this concept of God, because it's been so, that word has been so hurt and can be hurtful to people. But view it as this pervasive, ecstatic love flowing through time and space, endless and forevermore, and create a secret relationship with it. Jan, my eyeballs are kind of coming over to you, young lady.
I do quite a.
Thank you, Lisa.
I do a different range. Of a night time, I like to play meditation music, so to just forget what's been going on in the day and just go into what is now. In the mornings, I like to stretch and get the amino acids moving in the joints like a cat. And then a gratitude meditation. But just recently, I've come across the gate archery prayer. I don't know if you know that. I'll explain what it is and then I'll tell you what it is. So it's when you're reciting it, I'll just read my notes. You visualize the sun's rays streaming forth into the world, entering your heart, then streaming out from your heart's center and back into the world. This is a powerful and life-enhancing prayer. So it goes, you who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the world, illuminate also my heart, so that it too can do your work. So I do this when the sun's out, especially when I'm sitting here, I've got my window here, and the sun comes in. Then I talk to the sun.
Nice.
And that feels really nice. And there's a part from John, from the Bible, I can of mine own self do nothing. So the sun is doing it for us. So that's a way I see of being able to help to heal the world, help to heal the people around me.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jan. And Miss Veronica, is there any more you want to add to that conversation from your perspective?
Just don't forget Stan as well.
Oh, I was heading to Stan.
But I will just say as well that one thing I don't know, I started looking at all these resources I've got, and I came across this this book that I had on PDF, The Physics of Essential Oils by Linda Lee Smith, and she was talking about and everyone, you know, it just had a really good summary of the different brain waves and what we're trying to tap into when we're meditating. So yeah, if anybody wants a copy of that, let me know, because it's just a really good description of beta, alpha, theta, and delta.
Yeah, I would love a copy personally.
Yeah, cool. I'll send it to you.
So how you are going to pass it?
And me too.
Me too. Cassia, I'm friends with most of these people on Facebook, so I'll email Gary, but if you prefer email or a Facebook message, maybe just put it in the chat to me and I'll write it down and get it to you.
Okay, I can write you down right now the email, but we can catch up on Facebook as well.
Yeah, cool.
And Stan the man, where are you, brother?
Over here.
So is there a meditational practice that you do?
I would not say at this stage I have done meditation. I've kind of been doing a lot of tapping with affirmations at the moment, and then doing some probably a couple of months ago I was doing some tapping meditations on things like are you enough sort of stuff. So nothing yeah, it's a little bit slightly beyond just doing normal tapping routines, but with kind of meditation dropped into it as well. But that would be about it, really.
Well, I think tapping's awesome from the perspective you're activating different points in the body and meridians, and I think it's awesome. And especially while you're doing affirmations with the tapping, it can be really, really powerful. So, Kelly, did you want to add to that? Because I saw your comment on chat.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I agree with everyone.
Yeah. Tapping is fantastic. I also think it's an amazing thing, and it's taken off and become really huge, really, in many ways. It's wonderful with children and young people.
It definitely has.
And I'd just like to point out something, Gary, that occurred to me when Cassia was talking, that yeah, it's funny how like the influence of other people is so important to us, and if your people around you are poo-pooing what you're doing, it's really hard to keep going. And I think that's another reason why it's so important to have this community. And also thanks, Kasia, for pointing out those other classes that are on, because there's so much in the vault at the moment that it's just really hard to discern which ones to choose from. So I'm going to try and check out Vanessa's meditation.
Oh, absolutely. I highly recommend Vanessa, and I think Joe can speak up about that because he's her friend.
Yes, he's
recommended. I just met Vanessa 2 weeks ago because I'm from Washington State and she's from Seattle. She was on the way I met her, and it's incredible. She's just barely 23 years old, and her wisdom and her energy and the way how she moves people through the meditation. It's amazing. And she also does a private meditation group for just $22 a month, with 2 extras. So it's amazing how she is affordable for extras. And then, I mean, I don't know how, I've been watching so many people, but Vanessa has something special about her. Joe, what do you think? What is it special about Vanessa? Maybe you know her longer, so maybe you can say. And she's in the vault. It's at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I highly recommend coming over.
Yeah, Vanessa, she's just a pure heart. She's just an amazing young lady who is wise beyond her years. Yeah, she's how I found the Quantum Elite and Noble Goldman and all that. Her and I met on Facebook talking about feminine energies or something like that. And we just got to talking and she became my mentor. And I did a few private sessions with her. She helped me with some childhood healings and such. I learned breath work from her. She's the one who trained me in my Reiki. She's just an amazing individual that, I mean, I can't stop speaking highly about her. She's just an amazing soul. On the other hand, I wanted to ask, just for clarification, the tapping everybody is talking about, we're talking EFT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. I mean, we're a community of such knowledgeable people. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't another style out there that I just haven't heard of yet. So, all right, appreciate it.
No, I think Nick Ortner became the tapping solution. Became a very, very good thing to follow. But he used the same techniques, but they took it a lot further and consulted a lot with health practitioners and everything, which has sort of given it a whole new wave. I think they're very lovely people too. Yeah, but it's all the same.
Do you guys know somebody who is like really good? Like, because Vanessa, she does this amazing job with her chakras and breathing. And I'm wondering if you guys know anybody or any of you is like wonderful with tapping to guide, people here in the different time on Fridays. We have one class on Friday evening, but that's usually not working for everybody at that time. And that would be great because, you can do tapping with so many people, but, there are people that they really have that extra energy, like they really do it from the soul and that it's really going through you and it's really healing you. And there are just people that they can, just do tapping and you just don't connect with them.
Very true.
So we do have Carlos on Friday nights that does tapping, but I have also been in classes with Jolene, and she's done tapping methods, which has been different from Carlos. And I believe Dr. Janet has also done a tapping meditation in one of her many classes that she does. So we do have some skilled people within Noble Goldman that do the tapping. And so far, the 3 I've met have 3 different styles of doing tapping. And it was pretty cool learning the different methods and then being walked through with them.
Did you find similarities, Joe, or did you find some pretty radical differences between the styles?
Fairly similar, but methods and styles were different. Like the way they would word, like Carlos, he does a lot of tapping for like resistance and releasing the resistance, and that method is kind of the same with all of them, but some tapping methods itself are different between the 3. Like, they'll all do like the crown chakra, the sides of the eyes, the third eye, under the eye by the nose, and the collarbones. But like Jolene, she'll do fingertips, and I think Dr. Janet did something different around the ear. We only did it with Dr. Janet the one time, and I was pretty intrigued by it, and I kind of hope she does it again.
Awesome. I'll share. I'm not ready to do any process work with this yet, but I've been studying a technique on actually just working with the subconscious mind and what is called the superconscious mind, which is more like the high self. And it is actually a pretty miraculous technique to be able to clear things both down the mother and father's ancestral lines, any past lives, any separated parts of our personality based upon traumas, to bring them into absolute alignment. The little I've done with it has been pretty miraculous. A good friend of mine who is straight and he loves women, and he also had absorbed a quality from his father of cross-dressing, which he could never work through, had a lot of shame about it, couldn't control it. And he did some work on himself with this process and was free of it like within an hour, which he had struggled with for almost 55 years. So he said, I found this thing that actually had a profound effect on me. And I think that you ought to look at it because it's adjunctive to the work you currently do. And it could be a great add-on. So with my clients, after I get done doing some either trauma resolution work or other work, I've been finishing up with this process. So at some point, for all the students I've trained that you were in those certifications, I will absolutely say, okay, gang, I have something new I want to share with everyone. We'll all hook up for a small class on that, because I've had some really good success with it as well. I worked with this one process on, I don't know how many of you have ever looked at what has stood in your way of actually your ultimate, financial and emotional success. But I decided I would sit down and I would muscle test myself on some of this information to see what emotions could be holding me back. And so I muscle tested to see, first of all, if there was an emotion that was suppressed that was holding me back. And I tested strong, and so that's a yes. And then I went through this list of emotions to try to figure out which one it was. And after about maybe 60 different emotions I was muscle testing myself on, I came to this one, and it was worry. And I thought, well, that's odd. I thought it would be something else, but it was worry. So I did the very simple technique on worry. And I will say I've had all kinds of things since I did that little technique. Very quick, but since I did that little technique that normally I would have really worried about, I've had no worry, like zero worry. So I'm looking at that going, because I always like to use a laboratory of my own experience. If I'm going to learn something new, I want to use me as my guinea pig. And so I've been looking at introducing this to everybody, but like I said, I'm not there yet. I need to take some time to learn it a little bit better. But I'm thinking at some point, what we'll all do, we'll get on this call and we'll work with some of the information and see if we can make some movement for ourselves.
Hey, Gary, I have a question.
Please.
That's you are talking about superconscious mind work. Is this similar in any way with Akasha Chronics work?
I'm not familiar with that name. The person who originated this, his name is Gary Flint. He's no longer on the planet, but he wrote a book called A Theory and Treatment of Your Personality. Very heavy read, by the way, but I highly recommend it. Highly recommend.
Could you please type it in the chat, please?
I can do that.
I appreciate that.
Can I just offer just something a little bit? I use tapping a lot with my students that were very, very down on themselves and incredibly anxious, and especially around exam times or various issues that came up with them. And I did use tapping a lot, but I have to say, and sometimes it was so successful that the person that would come in an awful state, after a few minutes, they'd forgotten what they came in for, and it had completely disappeared. But I think it's your ability, you see, she told me what the concerns were, and I think it's an ability connected so much with listening, actually listening to the person in front of you, and then you're able to even make a script to use on the tapping to get to the root. But I think it was I just wanted to come on and say how important it is to listen, to listen to the other persons. I mean, I know we all know that, but I think any of these things are about listening and connecting to what the need is, because sometimes we don't know. And sometimes somebody else can just click on it and hear it, and you don't even realize that it's there. So, and that sort of comes with what you've been saying as well, Gary. So lovely.
I appreciate that. I have this metaphor, and I think that's a little bit how we'll seal up this conversation. Is the whole purpose of meditation ultimately, and the whole purpose of doing all this transformational work, quite frankly, of helping us, unload our luggage of the past, look at what we've created as our subjective experience, and be able to neutralize the negative emotions from our life experiences, so we're not carrying so many burdens with us into the now. The meditation is very much like sort of stilling our stories and our narratives. How do we begin to start quieting the mind? Oftentimes, when I first started meditating, my mind would run for 2.5 hours on problems that I would find myself trying to solve in meditation, rather than actually meditating. And what I realized was that it is literally about stilling the milk, and that's the metaphor. And what I mean by that is our mind, when we haven't really resolved some of our ego and our perceptual issues, our family of origin issues, what will happen is it's like a child with a spoon stirring the milk. But when the milk is still, like when we meditate and we're able to focus on one thing at a high enough level that it increases the vibratory resonance of our bodies and it opens up our heart and we actually feel love, that's stilling the milk. And that is when in milk, if the milk becomes still, the cream naturally rises to the surface, which simply means the richness of who we inherently actually are, our true self, the richness of our spirit actually can be more realized, can be more actualized in that state of a still mind. So our objective in this whole conversation around, meditation is really then processes that we're all using to still our milk, to raise the vibratory resonance and to feel that love and that respect for all living things. I love the Native American tradition. It's a tradition that I studied for many, many years. And that tradition is always that in the Lakota tradition, it's called Tukashala. And Tukashala, the creative force flows through all living things. There's just different forms, but the essence, the sameness of all living things is exactly equivalent regardless of the body that it is animating. So this is why you cause no harm to anything. You do your best to act out of ultimate kindness, and that keeps our mind still as well. So we're getting a little close to our actual time. So I wanted to close by having each one of us leave the group with a word or a sentence or a thought or a belief or a quote that you would like to leave from your gift to everybody else. So V, I am so looking at you, darling, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to, a word, a sentence, a quote.
So give
to
me
leave.
time to find one. Can you just repeat the name of that book? Larry, was it Flint? Who Flint?
It's in the chat. It's Gary Flint.
Gary Flint.
Yeah, and it's a theory and treatment of your personality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh, what community is my word?
Beautiful. Joe.
Don't be afraid to dance in the rain.
Kelly.
Carly, can you hear us?
Yes, yeah. All things past, present, and future are gently planned by one who unconditionally loves me.
Love that. Cassie?
So if we are talking about the best statement that I'm using on the daily basis is that I do not give consent, you know, to what I just don't like or don't want, and that's how simple it is. And every day it keeps my bubble of love happy and clean of negative energy. Just I do not give consent to this or that.
Nice. Julie.
Gosh, I'm thinking so many things and listening to all your lovely ideas are beautiful. I just think it is about choosing love, choosing to let love in, or let the absolute in and cleanse.
Beautiful. Thank you. Caroline?
We had Carly's she had your quote from.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right. Stan the man.
Mine would be full spirit.
Beautiful. And Jan?
Peace and calm in the world.
Nice. And Lisa?
Love and connection. And it just started raining here. As Joe was speaking, it just started raining.
It's going to rain hard there, I think. And my word is surrender. Surrender to a higher force.
And Carly? Did we have Carly?
She did.
Oh,
She spoke.
We doubt.
Mine's become the ocean.
Huh. There's a quote, and I think Kelly, you said this, that you saw a cloud atlas. Is that true?
Yes.
Movie.
It was awful.
Oh, darling, how could you say that?
Yeah,
It's
it was
so
long.
profound.
It's kind of confusing.
I had to watch it multiple times to see how the soul incarnates into all these different bodies that are the characters. That's why it seemed confusing, because there's all these characters, but they're all the same soul going through a variety of different experiences. And when you watch them, one lifetime dictates the next based upon what they did or didn't do in their actions. And that lifetime, it dictated the next. And the story just goes on in multiple lifetimes. Okay. It's quite profound. Watch it several times, Kelly, and you'll see layers and layers and layers of meaning in it. It's really something.
I understand your layers, but it was horrific. All those women hanging with no, I'm sorry, it wasn't what I was hoping for. By the time I watched because I even went to the end hoping it would be much better, but halfway through.
Well, there was a series of violent acts, which then shows how that karmically dictates the next lifetime. So
Yeah.
it's like the physical world is filled with that. So I thought it was a tremendous movie.
It's probably good, but I don't watch horror movies. It was horrible.
Okay. No, I will watch those if they have a profound meaning to them, and this one actually did. Okay, gang. So I feel pretty complete. I just wanted to thank you all for showing up and sharing your wisdom and your gifts tonight. I really appreciated it, and always and forevermore. You know, V, you always come up with something that is going to evoke the conversation and create connection, which is always a gift. And so I'm glad that you are in charge of that, darling, because there's always something that you shoot off to me the day before and say, what do you think? And we go, yeah, that's good. And it always is good.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you, and thank you so much, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
And belated birthday to you, Jan. So
happy birthday.
I know. Okay, gang, we'll see you next Tuesday. You have a blessed
All
time.
these Cancerians.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will see you later.
Okay,
God bless.
thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
Gary. Thanks, Lee.
Beautiful.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, beautiful people.